Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. It's the first Monday of 2025 and we're kicking off the week with another Brews at 10. Here on my left eye, I'm your host Lefty. A very warm welcome to everybody joining me this evening. Excuse me. Solidari-Tea. Hope we're all brewing nicely. Morbius, great to see you on the chats, and we've got a new member as well. Scally Bubble, thanks a lot. Great to have you on board. Your name will be added to the roster of members that will be getting up in a moment. Thanks a lot for that. So here we are. Another day, another twist in the back and forth between the far right, including Elon Musk, others in the UK, and the Labour Party. Also breaking news today, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has stepped down, he's quit. It was rumoured that he might do so for quite a while, and today it was announced that he's not going to be Prime Minister anymore. He's going to prorogue Parliament until March. So a little bit more about that. Super Tiny, great to see you once more. Hope you're doing okay. What else have we got coming up? The NHS Sell-Off continues. Yeah, I don't know if you've caught the latest video content on the channel. If not, please do check it out. All about Starmer's announcement today that more NHS services are going to be going into private hands. Not great. So it was a stealthy sell-off for a while, but now it's just gone absolutely fully open. He's trying to treat it as a good thing. But he's also been in the headlines as well for hitting back at Musk. That's another twist in this this drama that's happening. Can we sell off Starmer? I wish we could. I don't know if we'd get a good price. As far as politicians or human beings in general are concerned, wouldn't expect that much of a return, to be honest. Octo, great to see you in the chat as well. How you doing tonight? Alright people, yeah, please do make sure you hit thumbs up on the stream. Help spread us about the old algorithm. Give us a share across your social media if you'd like to give us a follow there as well. The channel is currently on Twitter, Blue Sky and Mastodon. Always Twitter, never X, of course. Got some other stuff coming up as well. Yeah, the latest on even more demonstrations and protests in support of Palestine, and in particular someone I've mentioned recently, spoke about him a little on last night's Sunday live stream, Dr. Hossam Abu Sophia, who's been, well, essentially kidnapped and held hostage by Israel. Though it will be reported in the mainstream media as arrested. So there have been protests calling for him to be released here in the UK and across the world. So I'll be talking a bit about that as well as, speaking of the far right, a couple of stories out today. First off, and I could barely believe it myself at first. I actually thought it was a parody. It appears that Andrew Tate, yes, who's recently been convicted on trafficking charges and so on and so forth, is trying to have a stab at UK politics. The Bruv Party. Yeah, I genuinely thought it was a parody when I first saw it. More about that later, but also, speaking of which, there's been a conviction today from someone who was behind organising the far-right riots, the Farage riots, as they're now known, of course, in Southport and other places, was arrested. And after being arrested, they found some pretty shocking things amongst his possessions, shall we say. Perhaps one of the worst things you'd ever hope to come across if you were searching someone's property or whatever. But no spoilers. Stay tuned to find out more about that as well. And we've got Davinia and Flowsnake over in the chat as well. Great to see you. Hope your week's getting off to a good start. Right, okay. Time for a customary shout out to all the members. Just take the chat off while displaying the roster of incredible people who support the channel. And if you'd like to join this list, as we already have had one person do this evening, thank you very much for that again. It's just 99 pence. And I've actually already very swiftly added the new member's name to the list this evening. Lots of perks for you to enjoy, so please do check them out. All the new members from last night's stream are up there as well now. Thanks a lot for those of you who gifted memberships on last night's live stream. And there you can see our new member from tonight, Scally Bubble. Please do let me know how you are supposed to pronounce that. Thanks again, everyone. Solidari-Tea. Right, I might just have a quick mess about with this pop-out chat. I just changed the blending on it. It's not quite coming through. I might just put it on normal for a while. Yeah, just leave it. The stream. That's just one of the new features on on the live streams on the channel as we go into 2025. More to come. Still sort of tinkering, as I said. Kit, great to see you as well. And what a Florkies, great to see you too. Now then, first things first. Okay, let's do the Justin Trudeau thing before we get on to Starmer. Let's take a look at the clip first. This is Justin Trudeau announcing his resignation earlier today.
My friends, as you all know, I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply about Canadians. I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed.
So that's as loud as I can get it. It's a bit quiet.
After what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor General that we need a new session of Parliament.
Just one quick moment. I'm going to just whack a bit again on this. As loud as I can get it on the EQ, but I have my ways. Let's see. Let's give it a. I think about 15 dB should do it. Skip back slightly. Okay.
Fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've been running a minority government, which almost sounds like an oxymoron. I won't go into the full details of the differences in the Canadian Parliament to the UK Parliament. But that's been, obviously, the problem in terms of the weight of the party, the efficacy of the party in the Parliament to get policy through, and so on and so forth. Personally speaking, I'm not a massive fan of Trudeau myself. Obviously, his view on the ceasefire in Palestine, coming into that, he openly backs the Israelis. Unfortunately, it's, you know, no sad thing to see him go. He does represent the Liberal Party, the so-called Liberal Party. I guess that's more in the UK sense than the American sense of liberal. That's one of those niggling sort of transatlantic mistranslations, as it were. Liberal in the United States would mean almost the opposite of what it means here in the UK. Parties, you know, Liberal Democrats, for example, wouldn't be considered on the left anyway. So that's been the problem. It's been rumoured for quite a while that he's going to be resigning, and now they're going to have to be without a parliament for quite a while, until March.
That's why this morning I advised the Governor General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today.
Eat up, kids. I quit. Pretty much. Was watching the news live when this was announced, actually. It took quite a while to get through it. He gave his statement and answered questions both in English and French, once after the other, first in English and then in French, so it did take some time to get through it all.
I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the president of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. Mes chers amis, comme vous savez.
Well, there you go. He continues to give the same statement again in French. Like I said, so there you have it. Let's have a quick skim through an article. So it's going to be au revoir to Monsieur Trudeau. Right, just made a few adjustments, sir. Apologies. So let's see what's happening. As a small group protests outside the Prime Minister's office, a few bemused passers-by looking on. Among them is Hermes Gamara from Burnaby in British Columbia, with his young daughter there visiting Ottawa for a few days. Well, that's not... What's happening, he asked me. Trudeau's resigned, I reply. Oh, that's politics, he shoots back with a laugh. Hamas tells me he'd voted... Hermes tells me he'd voted for Trudeau once before, and on balance thinks things have been okay on his watch. I'm a carpenter, I mind my own business, I get my wages. Okay, he doesn't seem too bothered. But what's all this? A bit of dancing, they've got a few signs out. Just move this over a little. No, that's better. I can still see your chats, okay. Waving Canadian flags, they're dancing to the song Na Na Hey Kiss Him Goodbye and telling anyone who listen about their long list of grievances. That's in Ottawa. They're not Francois Trudeau, it says. The White House called him a stalwart friend. Yeah, I'm sure they did. In, you know, aiding and abetting a collective occupation. So it says here, in 2015 he carried the Liberal Party from 3rd to 1st place, a feat that won him his first federal election. A series of ethics scandals early on began to take the sheen off his new government. He was found to have violated federal conflicts of interest rules in the handling of a corruption inquiry and for luxury trips to the Bahamas. Does that sound familiar? Keith. Excuse me. He weathered the crises and held on for 2 more federal elections, but his staying power finally seemed compromised in the latest term. Polls showed his popularity plummet amid compounding affordability and housing crises, while his minority government struggled to maintain control in Parliament. From there, calls for Trudeau to quit grew within his own party, and a new poll showed the Liberals' popularity had fallen to an all-time low of 16%. By Christmas, Trudeau's position appeared to slide from challenging to untenable, a reality that his announcement today appeared to acknowledge. 16% is very low, although Keith's probably giving him a run for his money. He did mention climate change when he was making his resignation speech, and he was obviously criticising the Tories or the Conservatives in Canada for the lack of policy they're on, which I guess was a decent thing. But really, when you look at his geopolitical stance, especially where Palestine's concerned, that's been way below par. One thing he did not mention, but will undoubtedly be remembered for, is his government's legislation of recreational marijuana nationwide in 2018. But he didn't enact electoral reform as well. That's something he was promising to do. He wanted to have a top-up vote sort of system. Didn't manage to get that through. So that would be where you make your first, second and third votes for parties. Sort of PR alternative vote, top-up vote system. But these are currently rumoured to replace him as Liberal Party leader. So we've got, that's Christy Freeland on the left there. That's someone who was heaping praise upon himself in his outgoing statement, from what I can remember. Anita Anand in the middle and Mark Carney on the right. So let's just find out a little bit more about the three of them. We've got Chrystia Freeland, who's the former finance minister, resigned from her post citing disagreements with Trudeau on how to respond to Trump's threat of tariffs. Is seen as one of the top contenders. Mark Carney, who's on the right there. That fella. So he's been a special advisor to Trudeau, and Anita Anand, the Transport Minister, is often touted as one of the more ambitious members of the Liberal caucus. That is to say, a careerist, probably. And entered politics in 2019 when she was elected to represent the riding of Oakville, just outside of Toronto. There's a few other contenders, potentially. François-Philippe Champagne, Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry. Champagne entered the Commons in 2015, but since then has gone through international trade, foreign affairs, and most recently the Department of Innovation, Science and Industry. Mélanie Joly, Minister of Foreign Affairs, has represented Canada on the world stage since 2021, and she's currently the Foreign Minister. Finally, we've got Dominic LeBlanc, who's current Minister of Finance and Intergovernmental Affairs, and has a record of stepping into portfolios at difficult moments, including becoming Finance Minister within hours of Freeland's bombshell resignation. Also, sorry, that's a different Christie. Christy Clark, former provincial premier, served as leader of Canada's westernmost province from 2011 to 2017. I'll keep you up to speed on that. As, things happen. But Trump, he's thrown his 2 cents in. Okay, what's he said? Of course, I mentioned previously Trump's intentions to buy Greenland, and this now seems to have expanded, perhaps the American empire. This isn't a silly rumour. We're literally talking about serious plans here. Include trying to get their hands on Canada as well. So it says here, less than 2 hours after Trudeau announced his plans to resign, President-elect Donald Trump took another jab suggesting Canada should merge with the US as its 51st state. I've got news for you, Donald. You've already got the 51st state. That's Israel. You've already got the 52nd state as well. That's us. Unfortunately. He said many people in Canada love being in the 51st state on Truth Social. If Canada merged with the US, there would be no tariffs. That's his favourite word, by the way, tariffs. Taxes would go way down, and they would be totally secure from the threat of Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. I'm not going to do a Trump impression, by the way. Just imagine that with my arms I'm pretending to repeatedly open and shut a small window's curtains just in front of my chest. Canadian goods which would devastate Canada's economy. He then also mocked Trudeau as the governor of the great state of Canada. The leader of one of the opposition parties is calling for an immediate election. Former ministry says he should have resigned sooner. What does it mean to prorogue Parliament? Well, of course, we know about that in the UK. It's closed. There will be no voting, no debating in Parliament in Canada till March. Of course, in the not too distant past, Johnson himself used that particular tactic as it was at the time, unfortunately not in alongside his resignation. He prorogued Parliament to dodge a vote that he was certain to lose. Quite an underhanded and cowardly tactic. And I guess we'll just finish off with this a clip of this. Yeah, it's only a minute long. The highlights, as it were.
I will truly and faithfully execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Prime Minister, so help me God.
The United States and Canada are blessed to be neighbors, and by choice we are steadfast allies and the closest of friends.
It is my honor to host such a great friend, neighbor, and ally at the White House. A very special place.
And I dressed up in an Aladdin costume and put makeup.
Sorry about the buffering there. Yeah, there was this, of course, as well. He, apparently blacked up once as part of a fancy dress. And he went as Aladdin. And obviously the picture went around the world. It's, overwhelmingly now in the 2020s seen as something that's just pretty much unacceptable. Not even in a tongue-in-cheek fashion, so there was that controversy as well. Now about Trump there, he's certainly changed his tune on his social media from what he said in front of the cameras. Let's just play the rest of this. Hopefully there won't be too much buffering.
I shouldn't have done that. I should have known better, but I didn't, and I'm really sorry. There are credible reasons to believe that agents of the government of India were involved in the killing of a Canadian on Canadian soil. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister.
Yep. Well, if it's one less Netanyahu backer out the door, as well as someone who is prepared to do blackface to try and have a laugh, then good riddance, I say. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. We should surely have higher standards as far as politicians are concerned internationally. That's all I'll say on that for now. We'll move on. Let's get on to all this business with Starmer. Okay, first of all, the NHS stuff comes as no shock to a great many of us. But Starmer's going to continue to eat away at the NHS and feed more of it into private hands. Let's see what's happening. Like I said, please do check out the recent content on the channel. Did a video about this earlier, but we'll just go over a couple of points. Whoops, we lost the music. Someone's kicked the plug out again. Goodness me. But well, this is the part of the announcement. Like I did mention in the video, these people here, I don't know what sort of threats were made to them, the ones in the background.
So today, I welcome a new agreement that will expand the relationship.
Just going to resize this. Yeah, it's got the logo in the corner. It's a video snippet. Anyway, it was probably, you know, he didn't want to stand there in front of the lectern and have to say that without having the NHS staff behind him. But just look at them. I don't know what sort of threats were made to them, what got them up there on the stage. It certainly wasn't any amount of enthusiasm. That's for sure. Right, so here's the announcement in case you're not seeing it yet.
Relationship between the NHS and the private healthcare sector.
What?
So today,
Oh, actually, no, I'm using the wrong clip. That's why.
I wel-
Bada boop, bada bing. One sec. Just getting the right clip queued up. One sec, guys. Thank you very much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Whilst I'm doing that, you can make sure you've hit the thumbs up button and whatnot.
Cut waiting times as dramatically as possible. Our approach.
Here we go. Once more with feeling.
Must be totally unburdened by dogma. Working people will expect nothing less.
Awful, isn't
So
it?
today, I welcome a new agreement that will expand
And he's leaning, he's serious, he means that he's leaning forward.
the relationship between the NHS and the private healthcare sector. Make the spaces, the facilities and resources of private hospitals more readily available to the NHS. That's more beds, more operations, more care, available to the NHS. Treating patients free at the point of use, targeted at where we need them most.
Right, this is all a front for what's actually going to happen. The money's just going to be siphoned out of the public purse. Whether the government has to directly pay these private firms or whether they get paid out of the NHS budget, which of course comes from taxation. So one way or the other, they're going to get their hands on your money. This is all just a massive front to say that it's trying to ease the burden of waiting lists and things like this. As I mentioned in the video as well, it's staffing that's the main issue. It's the lack of personnel. Whether you like it or not, leaving the European Union was a massive factor in that, of course. The freedom of movement going at the same time as our membership meant a lot of NHS workers from continental Europe had to move back to their home countries. That has been a problem. A solution to that could perhaps be some sort of adjustment to the visa system if possible, where NHS workers are concerned. There are solutions out there and they all involve a fully funded and fully staffed NHS, which has to be obviously paid for by the top earners.
A partnership in the national interest, cutting waiting times, working for you, delivering our plan for change. Now, I know some people won't like this, but I make no apologies. Change is urgent.
And we're going to be hearing plenty of that as well as he gets through his premiership. You're not going to like this, but screw you. I'm going to do it anyway. This isn't good for national institutions such as the NHS, or it'll be announcing another policy that isn't good for ordinary working people, as he likes to harp on about so much. But when we're talking about low-level earners or even the unemployed, where they're concerned, it's going to be, you're not going to like this, but tough shit. And then he'll try and follow that up with, because I'm determined to, you know, it's all crap. Let's see what you make of that in the chat. Yeah, you're right, one of Floki's about the voice. And vastly negative approval rating is no surprise. Did he really think any ordinary voter would believe his guff about the son of a toolmaker? Yeah, we know his establishment all the way. His majority in the Commons has already become known as the Loveless landslide, as it were. Not so much support for him, but people just wanted rid of the Tories and they saw that as the easiest solution, even though they have no enthusiasm for Starmer individually or his policies. I didn't vote for him. Fletch, great to see you in the chat. Hope you're well. Great to see you back again. Let's just go through a bit more of this speech.
I'm not interested in putting ideology before patients. And I'm not interested in moving at the pace of excuses.
So yeah, that, again, trying to say it's some sort of strange ideology. The NHS being free at the point of use and publicly funded is the very principle of it. It's not some sort of strange, obscure ideology, as he puts it. He is the son of a beach, you're quite right there, Baldwin. His dad was a sand maker, and so on. So let's flick through some of the details. This has been... well, I'll show you the headline now. I mean, obviously the proper headline would be, well, something along how I titled today's video, free plug. But this is crap. Look. Sets out plan to tackle hospital backlog. That's not what's really going on here, though, is it? You know, man. But regardless, let's see what they've got to say about it. Says the waiting list currently stands at 7.5 million, with more than 3 million having already waited longer than the 18-week target. Sir Keir said his plans would reduce the number of long waits by nearly 500,000 over the next year. Oh, he set himself a target. Targets and plans and pledges and missions. And what's the other one? First steps. Let's know he's got a ticking clock of a year. Spoiler alert, he's not going to come through on it. So it says the plan includes expanding the network of community diagnostic centres in surgical hubs to enable more treatment outside the hospitals. This is supposedly going to make it easier to exercise patient choice. Was introduced 20 years ago, but only 1 out of 4 patients believe they're offered a choice of where they're treated. How can there be backlogs yet people are spoilt for choice, like where to get treated? There are backlogs, of course. A key Labour election pledge, you all know how good is it coming through on those. Now included in the government's 6 main priorities is for 92% of patients to begin treatments or be given the all clear within 18 weeks by the end of Parliament. Again, don't hold your breath for him to come through on that one. So this is how things have gone. The graph starts in 2007. And you can see clearly the problems coming around the time. As I said, we left the EU massive staff shortages, and that's the very nucleus of this problem. They continue to rise, as you can see there, under the Tories, but then that was massively exacerbated as soon as swathes of NHS staff left the country. With as many as, well, just under 8 million, you can see there. Many waiting for more than 1 year for treatment. But this is not the solution, Keith. This is not the solution. We need to be repurchasing anything that private healthcare has from the NHS. Right now, immediately, we shouldn't be welcoming the private firms with open arms. We should be booting them out. They want one thing and one thing alone, and that is money, whether it's through taxation or any other means, or by moving us towards an insurance-based health system like they have in America, which is an absolute utter disaster, as I'm sure you're all more than aware, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. But we really need rid of them. Lock, stock and barrel. And this will fly back in Starmer's face, whether it's because he's not going to achieve the targets that he's set out, whether the very thin veil that's trying to cover this up as more money going into private firms comes more into public consciousness. So yeah, we've been lied to by Starmer, by Streeting, I don't have any clips pulled up at the moment, but obviously there were a few going round saying absolutely no more privatisation of the NHS if you elect the Labour government, and now here we are. It's taken just 10% of the parliamentary term, just 6 months for that veil to be lifted. Well, that's a good point in the chat, Morbius. Just when you look at the United States, where that sort of thing leads, a lot of that was the motivation behind the assassination of the healthcare CEO. That's what it will lead to. As well as, obviously, all of the utter misery in terms of denial of healthcare that comes along with it. That's the worst thing. That's the worst element. Like I said in the vid I put out earlier, people aren't seen as patients, they're seen as customers. So a completely healthy society is the last thing they'd want. Let's say that you could create cures to so many awful diseases right now with just one tablet, just one injection, or a short amount of treatment. Let's say cancer, for example. That's something that private healthcare firms wouldn't want, because that would affect their custom as they'd see it. It's so counterintuitive, it's so ridiculous, it's mind-blowing, and that is definitely not something I want to see my country tiptoeing towards. Hedy, great to see you in the chat. Welcome back, brother. And we've got Odin Allfather in the house as well. Yeah, so let's not go there. Let's not go the way that America's gone. Please. Just a little more through the article. Get on to other matters. I just want to quickly point out as well that one of the things I suggested earlier, taking back control, literally, not in the not in the phony vote leave sense, but actually taking back control of the National Health Service from private firms, would save us somewhere in the order of £10 million a week, I believe. So that's over £500 million per year that's being wasted. You're just paying for CEOs to have another yacht or another few sports cars or a luxury property, that sort of thing. Yeah, don't stand for it. We've got to send a loud and clear signal as well, globally. Because this is one of the most sacred institutions that we have in this country. Professor Phil Banfield of the BMA expressed doubt over whether the plan could be delivered. As I said earlier, it's all down to staffing and whatnot. Doctors have been just as frustrated as the patients by the lack of facilities to deliver care and want to bring waiting lists down. But the reality is, without the workforce to meet constantly rising demand, we will not see the progress that we all hope for. Absolutely. The Tories have tried to see this as an open goal, obviously, but they're very culpable, as you can see from the graph there with that number. If you go back to, where are we, 2010. So let's say from around here to just over 2 million, right up to over 4 million, almost doubling, and then, as I said, going exponentially towards 8 million. Just more of the same old crap. We've got Tories in red rosettes, people. That's what we got. You're not a floor snake. I'm not going to resay that pun. But that's not the only... right, that's all I'll say about that for now. Like I said, please do check out the vid. Share it around your social media and whatnot, if you've not done so already. Just one moment. Going to move on to another reason why Keith's been in the headlines today. He's been having a bit of a snipe back at the aforementioned Elon Musk. So that's what we'll be diving into in just one moment. Yeah, we mentioned on yesterday's live stream about Elon Musk getting involved in this ridiculous far-right hyperbole about immigration, of course, trying to be concerned about sex traffickers, grooming gangs, this kind of thing. However, specifically only focusing on cases that involve immigrants or brown and black people, which are in the vast minority, of course. So we spoke a little bit about what he said about Jess Phillips. Now, I have no love for Jess Phillips, really. But Musk is incorrect. It's all lies and hyperbole. Like I said, it was the Tories who didn't come through on a lot of investigations. in the 14 years. They didn't launch inquiries and whatnot. Just to reassure you that I am no fan of Jess Phillips. The very first Twitter account that I ever had, that's not the channel, that's a personal account. When I first got one, this is way back before Musk took over the platform, of course. The first time I got, I think it was permanent suspension or whatever they'd call it, was for something that I posted about Jess Phillips, or that I said to Jess Phillips. So I had to make a new account. That's just to reiterate, I don't really have a lot of admiration for her. And now he's brought Starmer into it. I'm going to show you a tweet, although I won't read it out, so I'm not risking breaking terms of service. It's weird, this, seeing a bunch of people who you criticise very often falling out with one another. It was Farage and Musk the other day, and now Musk and Starmer. It's, are they friends? Are they not friends? This sort of thing. High drama. But this is all designed, of course, manufactured to try and bring the issue of immigration into the news more, and almost in their eyes, that is the far right's sense, try and validate the argument, which is of course bollocks. The problems in this country aren't caused by immigration. They don't come by small boats, they come by private jets, as well we know here on My Left Eye. People's main concerns are things like lack of social housing, what we've just been saying about the NHS, the problems in the care sector, stagnant wages whilst inflation keeps increasing, and so on and so forth. Only the very gullible fall for the, it's the immigrant who's taking your job or suppressing your wages. It's not. It's the top percentile of the top 1% who are the worst, but yeah. This is the tweet. He's such a dickhead. Dickheads shouting at dickheads. Okay. Well, I'm not going to be short of content on the channel in 2025, that's for sure. Like I said, I won't read that out, the tweet. But you can see what it says there, and Starmer's responded. Let's see what he's had to say. Now again, as with Jess Phillips, I'm no fan of Starmer, as we all know, on the channel. But he's right, they are lies, but it is also double standards from Starmer himself, who's been complicit in this hyperbole, trying to outflank the Conservative Party and even the Reform Party, well, they're not a party, Reform PLC, to the right on issues of immigration. He's parroted or mirrored or whatever you want to call it, but he's repeated almost in verbatim the Tories' clarion call of stop the boats with this stop the gangs bollocks. So he's actually criticising Musk in a valid way, because Musk's talking bullshit. But Starmer's also a complete hypocrite for saying that he's spreading lies on grooming gangs. This is where we are. This is where things have led us at this particular point in history. Right, well, I'm not having any of that. I'm going to hit back. What's Keith had to say? Let's see what's happening. Prime Minister's attacked. Politicians and activists, not activists, spreading lies and misinformation over grooming gangs. It comes after multi-billionaire Elon Musk accused Sir Keir Starmer of being complicit in the of Britain during his tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions between 2008 and 2013 for failing to tackle grooming gangs. Alongside Musk's comments, of course it was during that period as well that the Tories were refusing to, and I'm almost being sick of my mouth, I'm not like defending Starmer here, but during that time they were very, very complicit in sitting by instead of launching public inquiries. Oh, God. Ugh, makes my skin crawl. The online debate around grooming gangs has now crossed a line, resulting in threats against MPs, including Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips. He said, "We've seen this playbook many times, whipping up intimidation and threats of violence, hoping that the media will amplify it." Sir Keir said, sorry, that wasn't my best Keith impression. I do most of them on the fly. I don't practice or anything. He said those who are spreading lies and misinformation as far and wide as possible are not interested in victims, they're interested in themselves. That is, again, try not to be sick in my own mouth, that is actually right. That is actually, you know, true. Kemi Badenoch's waded in with some utter tripe, of course, saying that smear tactics, accusing him of using smear tactics from 20 years ago against those calling for a national inquiry. That such a huge scandal could occur should prompt soul searching, not ranting that those of us who care about it are the far right, Badenoch says. Well, you know, it's on your watch, your party's watch, Kemi. He also said that Phillips had done 1,000 times more to protect victims of child sexual abuse than those attacking her can even dream about. Or even dreamt about, it says in the article. There's Trump with Musk. God. Just flash visions of what we might be in for in 2025. Of course, they're all down outside Capitol Hill. Earlier I saw some footage. Fortunately, it wasn't like January the 6th, at the last inauguration, the last time around. They were having a massive snowball fight, apparently. But that's another story. So that's just a bit more about Musk's backing of reform. Like we concluded yesterday, it looks as though he wants to, you know, it's either the carrot or the stick, really, I guess. He's going to try and tempt other people within reform to boot out Nigel Farage in exchange for huge amounts of funding. But you've got to say that was... that was something, how they seemed to be the best of pals one moment, and then Musk, being who he is, turned around and said that Farage wasn't fit to lead. So which way is that going to go? Are they going to take the bait? Are they going to go for the carrot? So yeah, and that pretty much revolved around their respective stances on whether or not Stephen Yaxley-Lennon should be allowed within the party. Okay, I'm just thinking about where to go next, because I do have some more stuff about far-right douchebags to come up, of course. on the stream. Let's just see how we might make a nice smooth thread with segues. Yeah, we'll go for that. Okay. Just this bit briefly. I don't believe this. Can't believe this. Oh. Yeah, so we all know that serial douchebag, trafficker, Andrew Tate has been incarcerated recently. However, and very optimistically, you have to say, he seems to want to be having a stab at UK politics. Yes, this isn't a parody. This isn't a joke. I saw this earlier around social media. Now, starting a political party whilst you're in prison, perhaps, you know, not the best tactic, perhaps not the best move. I think he's maybe just sort of missing being tweeted about or whatever, or trying to get into the headlines. But he appears to be serious about this, and of course there's the matter of whether someone who's not actually from the UK can come along and do this. But this is not a parody, people. This is actually for real. Now, I'm just going to lighten the chat box. One sec. In fact, I may as well just shrink the thing. Yeah, the Bruv Party. The Bruv Party. The Bruv Party. Yeah, bruv, in it, mate. You gonna vote for us, bruv? You gonna vote for us, bruv? You can almost see him lying on his bed in his cell trying to do the voice himself. But this is a thing. This is not a parody. So he wants people to join the Bruv Party. So what's it all going to be about? Oh god. Let's have a look at... Did I bookmark? Oh, I didn't bookmark the tweets. I'll get that up one moment. Yeah, I'm going to find the account where I first saw this. It was on Blade of the Sun on Twitter, so shout out for bringing this to my attention. Oh man. Yeah, the last time we brought him up on the channel, he was having all of his rare and luxury vehicles impounded, wasn't he? Millions and millions of dollars worth were being seized. And now this, I'm not going on the website. My morbid curiosity doesn't run that deep so far. Let's take a look at the response to this on Twitter. Just pull up the account that I got it back up, please. Oh dear. You know, it's bad enough that you've got Musk trying to get his way with reform, and now this. Just pulling up these tweets, bear with. Yeah, what do you think about this? Let me know in the chat, people. Let's see what you're saying. The Brew party, yeah. So, Heady, bruv is like a slang term in the UK for brother, but it's like something we call a sort of a chavvy expression, which is sort of like your, tracksuit wearing, the type of scallies or chavs or whatever you call them, who hang around a supermarket car park and harass people while they're listening to shit grime or whatever. So yeah, sort of a colloquialism for brother. It's more of a like a London thing, a Southern England thing. Up here in the north, we'd call each other bro or brother, I guess. But it's more of a sort of a Cockney or a Southern thing. Innit, bruv? You gonna vote for Andrew Tate, bruv? Yeah, that's right, Floor Snake. Amongst his vehicles, he had two classic larders. Soviet-era larders. He must be a communist. Dun dun dun! Revelation. Right, anyway, where's this tweet? Oh. We're out of music. No, we haven't. There we go. I'll just bring the screen up while I'm scrolling there. So that's the Brew party. Let's see the response on Twitter. This is Blade of the Sun, who's an author, definitely worth a follow on Twitter if you don't follow that account already. There it is. You can see what he thinks the acronym, that it could be an acronym, BRUV, the BRUV party. That's the latest picture of Tate there. You can see the self-described alpha male, as it were. Yeah, of course. Clearly superior genetics there. God. Oof. God. These are some pretty sick burns coming on the page. Some of them I can't risk reading out. I have had problems with live streams being demonetized recently, so I'll try and play it safe at the moment. There's another one. Grifter's got a grift. I'm a twat. Vote for me. Yeah, I'll say that one quite openly, loud and proud. Nice bit of Photoshop in there. That's Mr. Zipperface. British Romania utter vermin. They're saying that's what it stands for. Yeah, no doubt hoping for a fistful of dollars from Musk. That's probably a point. These grifters, even from within prison. But no, it's not a parody. It is for real. It is for real. It goes on and on. Bastard robbing unintelligent virgins. That's another suggestion. It seems to go on ad nauseum. You can make your own variations up. Let me know in the chat. So that's the first. Yeah, God. That's gonna go into the ground like a fucking dart. That idea, it really is. Right, that's enough of him. Speaking of other right-wing dickheads, though, get a load of this guy. So this is a taxi driver who played a big part in stoking the violent riots that we had in early 2024 here in the UK, including in Southport. That's where one of the main far-right riots were. And again, like the hyperbole we've mentioned so far on the stream, all complete bullshit based around immigration. We're taking our country back. Yeah. So this is... Oh God, you won't believe this guy. You won't believe this guy. And yeah, if you are based in the UK, you might have heard about this story that broke today, but if not, this is something else, man. So he was jailed today. Good riddance. Let's see, we're actually putting proper criminals in prison as opposed to climate protesters. That's another story. But strap yourselves into your seats, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. This is... my God. A taxi driver whose social media posts were the catalyst for the riots that broke out after 3 girls were stabbed to death in Southport has been jailed for 7.5 years. Andrew McIntyre, who's 39, set up a Telegram channel called Southport Wake Up in the immediate aftermath of the knife attack at a children's dance class in the Merseyside town on the 29th of July. Liverpool Crown Court heard the case involved a sinister aspect of violence which took place in parts of the UK last summer. He admitted encouraging violent disorder and possession of a knife in an earlier hearing. The Telegram channel was identified by the group Hope Not Hate as a catalyst for and origin of a series of posts concerning incidents of violence, prosecutor Arthur Gibson says. But it gets worse. It gets worse. Yeah, he then went on to more or less organise where and when people would meet up. For example, 8 PM tomorrow, St Luke's Road in Southport. So he's really instigated this. And after the disorder, he posted, "Well done last night, lads, to all you heavy hitters. Are you ready for round 2? Liverpool Mosque, West Derby Road, Friday 8 PM. They're directly threatening a mosque." Get this. A knife was found hidden in the boot of his car, and when his home was searched, officers found weapons and a copy of Mein Kampf. Yeah, they found a copy of Mein Kampf in the boot of his car. He was working as a taxi driver when he was intercepted and arrested by police in Liverpool on the 8th of August. Although why it was in the boot of his car, I'm not so sure. Maybe, takes it everywhere with him, or maybe he might think that there's instructions on how you can change a flat tyre or something. His parents are horrified that he's in this predicament. Yeah, no shit. But isn't that just, typical? You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. So we've got 7.5 years. sodding riddance as far as I'm concerned. What do you make of that, people? Yeah, I think it is actually... I don't know if it's illegal to own the book. You can sort of use it as... for historical references and things like that pertaining to the Second World War. But in some places I know that it is illegal just to own it. It's of course absolute drivel. Anyone who's inspired by that sort of crap needs to give their head a wobble. Yeah, so the fight against the right continues, and with it, the fight against oppression and collective occupation. So now we're going to go over to matters in the Middle East where that's concerned, and Dr. Hossam Abu Safia was of course essentially kidnapped and taken hostage by IDF forces from a hospital. And there's been outrage against this and demonstrations and protests, of course. Let's have a look again at that clip I showed you right at the top of the live stream if you've been with us since the beginning or you're watching back on a replay.
Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Stop! Stop! Genocide!
Stop! Stop! Genocide!
Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Stop! Stop! Genocide!
Stop! Stop! Genocide!
So that was from San Francisco, actually, and that was today, in fact, the first Monday of 2025. People of citizens of San Francisco out there en masse in force. Very well done to them. There's also a great post from a lifelong campaigner, someone I've had the privilege of meeting a few times, as she does come to Manchester and takes part in rallies, demonstrations, etc. Laura Piddock has got some more details about the case, which I think sum it up really well in this clip. So this is Laura Piddock. Do give her a follow. That's Piddock.
Dr. Hussam Abu Safia has been arrested in northern Gaza by Israeli occupation forces. He is a paediatrician and director of the Kamal Adwan Hospital, and he's been arrested. You might have seen a very powerful image in the last few days of a doctor in a white coat walking towards an Israeli tank. Well, that's him. He has been refusing to leave his patients in this ongoing genocide, and horrifically his son has been murdered. Activists are asking people to do something really straightforward, which is to get in touch with your Member of Parliament, to ask them and make representations through the government to free Dr. Hussam Abu Safia. The normalisation of targeting people who are serving people during a genocide is horrific. We can't be complicit in that. We have to say that this is not in our name. And one way to do that, it's a simple way, is to get in touch with our members of parliament and say, what are you doing? What are you actually doing now that you have the knowledge that this doctor has been arrested by Israeli occupation forces? There is an ongoing genocide in Gaza. The situation couldn't be more serious. We are hearing that babies have frozen to death, that there is a significant risk of starvation because aid can't get through, medical supplies, that people are in tents that are being flooded, and of course the level of death and suffering. Tens of thousands of people have already been murdered, and of course so many lives at risk because of those very, very serious conditions and the continued atrocities at the hands of the Israeli occupation forces. So please do something, and please join in with local actions that are taking place. There'll be something in your local community, but please do something.
Yeah, please do. Wherever you are, whatever region of the country or the wider world you find yourselves in, please do get down to any demos or rallies if you can. And just yesterday, 33 Palestinians were killed, many of them froze. 8 of them were babies that froze overnight in the tents because of these appalling conditions that they're under. Well said there, Laura Piddock. And there has been a response here in the UK. Large crowd gathered outside the American embassy in London to call for his release. Diplomatically, we have to get involved in cases such as this. It just adds to the list the absolute bounty, the litany of war crimes that Israel's carried out, even just in the past year and 3 months as it's been since the escalation, but in the many decades prior to that. And many of them directly contradict, for example, the Fourth Geneva Convention, to which we're a signatory. So we have to get involved. It's our responsibility as a country, it's our responsibility as citizens to put pressure on the leaders of our countries to do more. So well done to anybody who was down there at that demo in London. Let's see some footage. Yes, we will not stop, we will not rest, as they were crying there. Absolutely, 100%. Well done, great, enthusiastic, passionate crowd there outside the US Embassy in London. And thanks a lot for throwing up the Palestine flags and watermelons in the chat. As always, we stand in solidarity with Palestine here on My Left Eye, and will forevermore. Until they are free. Yeah, and if you're getting involved with any demos, do let us know in the chat or in the comments. If you want to promote anything in your local area, please do. There are, of course, always regular demonstrations here in Manchester, usually congregating on Piccadilly Gardens, for anyone who's familiar with the fine city of Manchester. And of course the same in other cities, London, Liverpool, all across the UK. Right, people, I'm going to be bringing things to a close in a few moments. I just want to check out for prospective redirects, raids into other channels. Yes, Kit, we do also get together at St. Peter's Square, that's right, in Manchester. It's not too far away from Piccadilly Gardens. It depends on the numbers. I've been at demos that meet at St. Peter's as well as at Piccadilly Square. You often find there are speeches happening, and I'm going on a bit about Manchester now. You often find there are speeches happening in St. Peter's Square whilst the march starts at Piccadilly Gardens, and then it catches and people sort of end up congregating in St. Peter's Square. It depends on the size and the nature of the demo, I guess. But yeah, you're all very welcome for the stream tonight. Thank you very much for being here. While I'm looking to redirect, I will of course give a shout out to all of you fine members here on the channel. It's been great to see you tonight. I'm just going to blend the chat in for a moment while I thank the members, so you can all see your names. Aha. Yeah, thanks again, every single one of you. Now then, who's live? I remember last night there wasn't anything as I was closing up, so I raided into a scheduled stream, but then a short time later I think Kev and Helena both went on live, so let's see if we can catch anyone tonight. Thanks Kate, thanks Flowsnake, thanks Davinia, thank you everybody in the chat, thanks for your comments as well. It's been great to welcome a new member on board tonight as well, of course. I'll be back with more Brews at 10 throughout the week, of course. Stop saying of course so much. Of course. Right, who we got? Oh, come on, this is taking forever to load. There we go. Like I said last night, I do have to be quite economic with my CPU usage. Hoping for an upgrade in 2025 to make things a lot easier. Finally. Sorry about the hold up. So we've got the aforementioned Kevin Logan and No Justice both live tonight. We'll go with Kev this time. I obviously do highly recommend Helena at No Justice as well, but I don't think we've raided into Kev since the last time we raided into No Justice. Let's just try and spread the solidarity and love as evenly as we can, I should say. Right, that's all set up, we're good to go. Just all that's left is for me to wish you a very good evening. Thank you once again for joining me on the stream. We'll have a comedy meme and the outro titles, of course, but until the next time I see you, take care everybody. My Left Eye will be seeing you soon.